if you don't set boundaries, then the life will do it for you. And usually it won't ask nicely. For those who don't know me and who just jumping in here, my name is Julia Dars. I'm a transformational coach, a neuronumeric guide and mentor. And specifically, I love working with subconscious mind, limiting beliefs, rewiring them so people can have successful life, happy life, joyful life. I work a lot with mindset and with that we cannot really access using neurographics and numeric psychology. So I am planning on doing this approximately for 45 minutes. So let's just go ahead, jumping into the topic. I really think and I know that it is impossible to have loving and respectful relationships, beautiful life, career, friendships, etc., if you don't know your boundaries. And I want you to think about boundaries as not as walls, as not that where you need to fight back. Those are really emergency boundaries, and it's kind of too late, but it still exists. But boundaries just simply rules that, like it's doors with locks, and you tell people and you tell yourself how to communicate with you, and you set the tone for your life. Let's define what boundaries are so we're kind of on the same page, because if my understanding of boundaries is different than yours, we're probably going to be talking about different things, right? So boundaries are limits or rules we set to protect our time, energy, body, emotions, and values. It's kind of like you telling the people, this is where I end and you begin. And we're going to discuss right now what kind of boundaries are there, when to set them up, how to understand if you need boundaries. We're going to do a short and easy exercise in the end, so stay tuned. Okay, but let's talk first about the consequences of not having or setting your boundaries. And I have an extensive library of stories because I work a lot with my clients, and I will be using their stories and you will be using my stories. So I just want you to connect and kind of reapply it to your life. All right. So when we don't have boundaries, what happens? Well, we give away our life, literally. People schedule things for us. As example of one of my clients, her mom was temporarily taking care of her because she was laid off, and she was, in the process of finding a new job. And her mom was literally just telling her when to come, what to do, or she will visit her unannounced on her terms. As a result, obviously, my client felt that she owns her mom and she wants to be a good girl, a good girl, and be a good daughter. So she swallowed it. And what happened next is that she swallowed it, her body piled up, and is in the end, she was literally just, I can't do this anymore. Like, I just want to throw everything away, disconnect. Those emergency boundaries are really, it's a last resort that we should do. And we should really set the boundaries in the beginning. I also want to kind of state here is that flexibility doesn't mean to be a doormat. When people say, oh, yeah, it's okay, it's fine that you're late, it's fine that you just texting me and saying that you can come for our appointment or meeting or a date, whatever, right? We can apply it to all areas in life. Relationships, career, our own personal boundaries, people that we communicate with, right? It's fine. It's okay. It's okay that you didn't show up. It's okay that you are late. Oh, it's okay that you reschedule on your terms. I'm a flexible person. No, it's being a good girl, and it's not okay. It's basically people just, throwing you around with however they want. But what you get from being flexible is that you feel hurt. You feel probably angry at certain points, right? If you're being completely honest with yourself. Flexible being is when something happens once in the blue moon. Life happens. We all know that, right? And saying, look, it's okay. I understand that. It's fine. We can reschedule, right? You stuck in traffic? Sorry to hear that. Yeah, I know it's terrible. It's fine. I'll wait, right? But if it happens all the time with you, it means you don't have that set with other people. Because if people really respect you, they will leave earlier. If you have those boundaries, people won't text you 5 minutes in 5 minutes or even in that time where you're supposed to meet with them, for example. and say, I'm late, I'm sorry. No, they know that this person has the set values and he values me being on time. And I value our friendship and relationships. So in this case, you are making those relationships really work for you. Okay, so what's next? What happens if you don't have the boundary set? People demand from you, right? You being very helpful all the time, even if it hurts you, even if it doesn't work for you, but you're still helping, right? And then you feel exhausted. You betray your own energy at this case. So without boundaries, you become a character in someone else's story instead of the author of your own. Okay. So um let's do this. Let's do this question. Where do I even need boundaries? And think about any person, any area of your life. It could be your job, it could be your relationship, it could be your partner, it could be your friends, your parents, right? Anywhere where you have communication with someone and you feel that resentment or exhaustion, right? Or guilt for saying no. And you always say yes in this case, then. That's where you begin to set your boundaries, right? So I'll tell you my example. When I was dating back at the time, and I didn't really know what boundaries are at that moment, my partner was always kind of, hey, I'm gonna we can do this day to day, I need to reschedule, or something came up. And he was very hardworking person, so I knew he's like doing his job all the time. And I was like, yeah, sure. I thought I'm being flexible and understanding. I thought I was being a good girlfriend at that moment where I was allowing him to reschedule and skip our dates just because he couldn't do this. And I was so looking forward to it. So now, obviously, reflecting back, I can see that I felt so much resentment. And even though I wanted to really curse, and I'm Eastern European, so we know how to do that, I wanted to really say all the beautiful words into his face. I couldn't because I was thinking, well, I said okay multiple times. I didn't say okay once. I said okay all the time instead of saying, hey, it's very important to me, and if you skip it one more time, then maybe we should rethink and revisit why we even together, right? Is that a respect you want to hear and to see from your partner? What else? Work scenario. That one is my favorite. Honestly, I thought it's only us, like Eastern European people, because we kind of like to do everything without somebody even asking us, or it's kind of like applies at work, like the mindset mentality is there that this person is going to do all the tasks, right? But I have a friend here who really is doing let's say he's a manager, right? I don't remember the exact title that he has, but he's a manager. So he's not only manager, he's doing like 5 people's worth of work during the day. Then what happens next? We're on the phone, he complains, he says how life is difficult, how he's tired of his job, and how everything is on him and he's tired of it. What happens next? He goes back to the same routine and he complains again. So I'm asking him, hey, is that under your contract that you're doing that? I get it. I get it. You're a go guy, right? I get this point. But is that something that you sign up for? Or can you go to your boss and talk with him saying, hey, I'm really feeling that like it's a lot of stress on me and I see my quality of the results I produce, they are going down because I'm really doing like 5 people's job right now. And he says, yeah, this is not as easy. And I'm honestly surprised because I think it is. And I think if you still staying at this job and you allow, and then you say that your boss is crazy because probably in the beginning, people want to be more accommodating and like, hey, I really can't do this job because let's face it, job market sucks right now. So nobody wants to be fired or laid off, right? And I get it. I get this whole. But to what extent? How long are you going to be there? And in exchange for your health, your mental health, in exchange for all of that, for money, well, I am sure there are way more companies than you think or my friend think, because he probably thinks that it's only one that he can be, of service for, and that can actually respect your time, respect you as the individual, so respect your boundaries, right? And I get it if you want to be, helpful, and if you want to show up, at your job, and so show your managers, show your supervisors that you're doing a good job and you're worthy of doing that. I get this. It's amazing, right? But then you have to be there and set up those boundaries, because I guarantee in some time they're still gonna have the same paycheck, but way more responsibilities. And I don't know if that is the better way, rather than just in the beginning saying, hey, this is what I can do. This is the overtime. And no, I don't answer my emails on Sundays and Saturdays. And no, I don't text back on Sunday and Saturdays. You have to wait until my time starts, because those are, excuse me, like no hard feelings. It's business. And if we don't set those boundaries, then people will treat, you because they see that you allow them to do so. All right. So, job, career, whatever it is, you have to have boundaries for people. If you are working with people, if you're a coach, let's say, for example, you have to set boundaries what time you show up. When I was working as a fitness coach, and my clients, they all knew the first time I let it slide. And I told them, hey, it's a first time, it's fine. But if you are late more than 10 minutes, I'm leaving and you're paying for the full session. If I didn't receive the notice up until 24 hours. Why? Because I value my time. Because this time when you're skipping the session, I can have somebody else and can serve somebody else. So the first time is fine. The second time is no bueno, no go. I'm sorry, you're paying for it, and that's okay. And if you concern how people gonna think of you or what they're gonna think of you, we're gonna talk about that as well in today's video, because those are also boundaries that you set. Let's go ahead and talk about types of boundaries. What kind of boundaries do we have in general? Because I feel like we'd all talk about boundaries, but nobody knows like what is behind the word boundaries. So the first one I call emergency boundaries. And when it's kind of like too late, when you let it slide, when you keep on like being flexible, when you keep letting people push you around, schedule on their time, be late, don't show up, skip your dates, don't answer you, and you start resetting the boundaries. Now in this case, you actually are fighting against them, and every force has counterforce. You push, people will push harder. Because why is that you changing all of a sudden from being okay to being not okay? What people will think is that you're selfish, or like, wow, are you in a cult? Are you in a high? What happened to you? You were okay, you were normal. So please, please, please don't listen to this. That's their problem. If they think so and you setting your boundaries, it's their problem. My client's example, she said her mom, she said, hey, mom, this is my time. This is the time for myself. This is the time where I apply for jobs, because she was in between. This is the time when I'm spending with, let's say, my son, right? And her mom was like, excuse me, what do you mean your time? This is not your time. I tell you when is your time, right? The parent subordination sometimes with their kids, that's why I flew away from Belarus to America, is very blurred. And so what my client felt, she felt really guilty at that moment. And she texted me, she's like, I can't. It's almost like, I'm doing what we discussed and I'm setting the boundaries. And now my mom is pushing twice harder. And I told her, that's okay. That's her problem. Let her deal with this. What you do is you set the boundaries and you stand by them. You don't bend the boundaries. You don't say, okay, you know what? It's fine. Yeah, okay, just this time. That doesn't work. It has to be firm, right? I'll tell you my example. My mom, when I moved to America, obviously she was worrying about me. I was 20 years old and in New York, in a while, basically. So she would text anytime she wants, demand me text back almost like right there, ask question that she would ask when I was like 5 years old. and do all of those things that really irritated the shit out of me. So when I realized, hey, this is like, I want to have great relationship with my mom. I don't want to feel resentment. I don't want to feel that I want to fight back. She's my mom. I love her. But if that's going to be continuing, it's not going to happen. So I told her, look, mom, I'm okay. I know you're worried, and I know that I'm your daughter, and always probably for you, I will be a little, I'm grown up right now. And that was happening, by the way, that was happening in, a little bit after I was 20 years old and moved there, like, right? So when I told her, like, look, I'm busy, I'm building my life on my terms. I will text you when I want, and I will text you and call you when I want. And I don't want to need to text you or because I have to text you. I want to text you. And let's do this. This is what's okay. This is not okay. Do you think my mom, like, she handled it very well? No, of course not. She's very emotional. She started crying. She thought that I'm somehow don't love her anymore. But I explained to her one more time, Mom, I love you with all my heart. But I want us to be in a very beautiful relationships, adult relationship, not adult and a child, because I'm not a child anymore. So let's have that respect. It took a little bit of time, but now I have the best and the most beautiful relationship with my mom. But if I didn't set those boundaries, that what was should probably would be happening till now. Okay, so emergency boundaries are not optimal, but if you're already in the position in any area of your life where you feel like one more and I'm gonna go crazy, one more and I'm gonna scream at this person, or if you feel like I want to really hate this person in his face, that's where emergency boundaries are coming from, right? So it's okay where you're gonna set them at this moment, and let people think whatever they want to think about you, and they will come around. I promise. If they really truly respect, if they really truly value you in their lives, they will come around and they will sign the contract with you that those are your boundaries, and I'm gonna respect them because I respect this person. Please be also respectful of that person, because that's not their fault that you allow them to do so, right? We are creators of our reality. And if you just take the responsibility of your shoulders and put this on other people, and then you a little bit frustrated with them, why they treating you like this, then I'm gonna lead you on a secret, because you allowed them to do so, right? Because right from the beginning, you didn't set those boundaries with people. So next set of boundaries, physical boundaries, my body, my space, my rules, right? They include personal space, physical touch, preferences, rest, sleep needs, physical safety. I'm going to say that those are probably the most important boundaries, especially sometimes it could be with friends, maybe more in like from around like 20s, like where your friends are like, oh, come on, you can sleep tomorrow. Oh, come on, why do you need this sleep? Oh, come on, like all of those kind of pushy things. And I tell you, like, I had this story where my friend, first of all of a sudden, didn't tell me anything, said, hey, I am in Charleston and I was in South Carolina. And I was like, okay, I was speechless. He goes, hey, can you pick me up from the airport? Good thing I have like a gap next hour, I can do this. But I kind of didn't know how to tell my friend that, like, not a good time. Also, maybe you should have told me that you're coming, because right now you don't expect me to just change my entire schedule. But that's exactly what he expected from me. Change my schedule, go pick him up. And then when I said, hey, I did this, I changed my schedule around, we had a good time. But then when he's, hey, let's go to this bar. And I'm like, I don't want to go to this bar. I have my ritual. I am going to bed. I have my journal. I have my meditation. I love it. I'm in the flow. I don't want to do like late night going out. And he said, it's only in your head. And I'm like, even if it's in my head, I'm okay with that. It's working for me so far. So I prefer to keep that, whatever is in my head and what's helping me in this life. But I felt so much resentment. I felt that I wanted to punch him in the face. He came to visit me. Then I had to pick him up. Then I had to do this. Instead of saying, hey, I can't really change my all my schedule around, but I can do it from this to this. If that's okay with you, let's meet up. And that's the rest is on him, right? You should have told me. Personal space and touch preferences. This is for women. And I want you, my beautiful queens, to hear this, that you decide when and where the guy can touch you. I had a date, and for me physical touch is very personal, it's my private space. You cannot invade it without actually asking me. We were on a date, so just talking, regular thing, and then we were walking back to the car and he grabbed my hand like this. To me, I'm sorry, but it's like touching like this is like my understanding of a couple in a way. And I was like, whoa. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, but this is a little bit too much for the first date. And he made fun of me. He's like, what? This is just, I'm just grabbed you by the hand. What's wrong? And I was like, again, I didn't know what to say. I'm like, well, this is my intimate space and I don't want you to do this next time. Well, it's not going to be next time, but I would like for you to ask first, right? Is that okay if I touch you? If it's okay if I take your hand? And most likely, probably because I like the guy, I would have said yes. But that invasion into my personal space didn't really make me feel safe or like, excuse me. Or like when a guy grabs or like smacks the girl, right? Or like put his hand here. This is not okay. I want you to know this is not okay if you don't allow this, because we need to set the bar for all of us, for all the society, what's okay, what's not okay. So we avoid way more like grandiose things that can happen in these scenarios. Okay, next, emotional boundaries. I am not responsible for how you feel, and you are not, it goes both ways, both, and you are not responsible for how I feel. I have a little bit of beef with this phrase. Tell you what, includes not absorbing others' emotions, honoring your feelings without guilt, protecting your emotional energy. The problem I have with this, because people take it and use it to validate and justify their absolutely poor manners, bad tone of voice, and the inability to deliver in a nice way. You can say it very nicely. So I'm not responsible for how you feel, and you are not responsible for how I feel, includes being respectful to another person, also considering their boundaries, also having diplomatic, I would say, in a way, right? Way of conversation, and not snapping at person and they saying, well, I'm not responsible how you feel, right? Well, you kind of do, because right now you just yelling at me at my face. So do you think I'm a Buddha Zen monk that can just let it, go? We're all human beings. So be respectful of each other, right? So when these boundaries are crossed, you probably most likely gonna feel manipulated, overly responsible for others, or drained energetically and emotionally. Next, mental boundaries. I get to think for myself, and so do you. This includes belief autonomy. That's very common in partnerships, in couples. I went through this journey myself where I merged with my ex-husband, and he was also manipulating a lot of the times. So after we broke up, I couldn't feel what I want, who I was at that moment. Where do I go? Because all I had, our mutual goals, our where we're going, and all of those things. But I really didn't know, what do I want? Partnerships is amazing, but you still have your life. And having autonomy, as my friend Jared Crucio says, agree to disagree, right? So you don't have to, merge with other people' opinions or beliefs. You get to have your own freedom to hold different opinions. Then time for reflection and clarity. It's very important. Very important to actually reflect and see, why do I feel violated? Why do I feel resentment? Why do I feel that I want to punch this person in the face? Can I reflect what happened and then identify, how can I make it better if I truly want this relationship to work, right? So when these boundaries are crossed, that's what you're going to feel. pressure to conform, gaslit, or mocked for your views. Okay. Very common ones, by the way. It's when, especially when I work with clients, I see this when they have their dream, when they have a goal that they want to achieve. And then their friends or a partner or maybe parents, right, say like, oh, come on, that's just be realistic. That's not you. You're never gonna get there. Or like just hey, just play safe, right? So then what happens here is that you're being kind of like marked for what you how you view life. In a way, that's what happened with me, but I was underage at that moment and I decided that in order for me to actually have my views and opinions and what I want to do and build my life, I have to really separate from my parents completely. Because if I'm staying in that's just the culture. So I couldn't do this if I stayed in Belarus. Time boundaries. My time is available and it's mine to choose how to spend it. That's another set of boundaries I want you to also think about it, right? This includes saying no to over committing, prioritizing your own needs and goals. And when these boundaries are crossed, you're going to have chronically late, you're going to feel like you're chronically late, overwhelmed, or guilty for not doing more. Sounds familiar? When does this happen? When you being a good girl and saying yes to literally everything, even going to events. I live in Austin, and I gotta tell you that the former when I moved here and I first started going to communities and getting to know people was absolutely insane. I was literally thinking, where the hell can I make this time, to go and visit all the events and, support my friends and do this and this and this. And I felt so guilty for not doing that. And I thought, right, well, how, like, why am I probably not a good friend, right? That if I don't commit. And that's at that moment, I felt really exhausted. So setting time boundaries is basically first, you got to set it for yourself. What's okay, what's not okay. What time you settling and going back to, getting ready for bed, for example, or in the morning, right? That's really goes into time management a lot. And understanding where you can dedicate more time and where you should say no to overcommitting, to overdoing, to going into this roller coaster, right? And just trying to catch up with everything. And yet you always late. Also, time boundaries, I would also say and add here is this is not okay. And I don't know when it happened in our society, but this is not okay if you're late, not to warn me that you're going to be late. It's not okay if you have a meeting, it's not okay to leave your house 10 minutes before, even though you know that the drive is 20. It's not okay. No matter who that is, your friend, your parents, your co-workers, your boss. Well, boss probably won't. With that, probably won't happen. But it's not okay. Tell you an example. I have my kind of passion. I dog sit, and I have puppers coming. I love them. I have my dog, and I just didn't want to buy another dog. So I'm like, hey, what can I do so he can play as well? And I'm like, I'll just do dog sitting here and there. So there was my one of my favorites. But what she was doing, she was saying, I'm gonna drop him off at 8 a.m. in the morning. And I have my ritual. I have my dog knows when we go for a walk. I have that set. And even though she said I'm gonna be at 8, she would come at 10, 10:30. And the first time I said, it's okay, right? Because I really love those dogs. I love the Australian Shepherd she had, and I really wanted them. But then it turned out then I had to reschedule things, or I had to leave late. And now I'm late because she violated my boundaries. And what I said to her next time, I said, hey, I'm not available. Sorry. Because I knew that's going to be happening. So you have to do that for yourself. You have to let people know it's not okay to treat you like you just some sort of a furniture that could be waiting for them for the half of the day. This is not okay. And it's not you being egotistical or selfish. It's just you being respectful of your time. And if people don't respect your time, then what are we talking about? And I'm not okay with this being a cultural thing. I'm really not okay with that, because this is not cultural thing. Because if you know that it takes you 20 minutes, then maybe start leaving 30 minutes before and be ahead of the time. In some cultures, by the way, I think in Germany, if you come to the meeting 5 minutes before the meeting, you are late. That's how it is. And I think that's very respectful. Okay. So we talked about time boundaries, energy boundaries. Next segment. I'm not a battery pack for everyone else. That includes managing your output, choosing who gets your attention, saying no to energy vampires. And when these boundaries are crossed, you burn out, edgy, resentful, or you run on empty. This is very common thing, especially with friends, because we now use the term friend for literally anyone we know for one day. We say, "Oh, he's my friend. She's my friend. They're my friends," right? That's interesting. That's interesting phenomenon for me because to me, friend is someone that I build relationship with, connections. It takes time. It takes effort. It takes action. And I don't call everyone my friend. However, when we say friend, what it does for our brain, so it's kind of like you think of it as an archetype we have, right? If I tell you this is the archetype of a trickster, you will right away, you don't even know the guy, but you will right away understand what does it mean, trickster. Or this is archetype of a hero, right? He is like a hero. You will probably think of certain features, right? Talents and certain inner skills, right? Or skill set that this person has. So the same way goes to when you call everybody friend, and then you are feeling entitled to be there, to have conversations for hours and hours on end, right? To support a friend that really doesn't do much but just complains all the time, and then you feel that you're a bad friend if you don't support them. You know what, this is, again, this is your life. You can do whatever you want with this life, but if you want to grow, then what you do is you sit down, you take you take paper and a sheet of paper, right, paper and pen, and you write down, these are my friends, my kind of first level friends, right? How do I feel with each one of them? This is why I do on the program that I have. But just I want to share with you this as well. How do I feel with this person? How many hours do I spend with this person? And after the conversation, do I feel that I am expanding and I'm happy? Obviously things happen and sometimes different conversations could have different results. I understand that. But in general, right? Do you give the same as you receive, or you always give, 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 give? And then what happens is like you empty and you just doing it because of the your habit. So think of those people, really list the think about the train, think about the first car is the VIP, and put all your VIPs in that car and list them. These are people that are respectful of my time. Like, I love to spend time with them. We're on the same page. I'm looking forward meeting with them, right? We're always constantly like maybe doing something, not necessarily we grow in our life. Maybe we're doing something fun together, right? In different categories. So that's VIPs. The second one is kind of like the second package, right? Like what the people who are okay, but not necessarily my close friends. And I would love to see, like, maybe how do I feel with all those people? And then the third car, pretty much just all the rest of whatever, whoever you call friends or people you spend time, and you see these people are generating energy for me. I'm feeling, excited. I'm all feeling pumped after conversations or meeting with these people. And with these people, I feel drained all the time. There's no support. There's only whining. There's only complaining about their lives. And ask yourself, with which one do I want to have my life, to build my life together? Because you are a part of the circle that you are hanging out with. So really think about that. Financial boundaries. Generosity without self sacrifice includes lending, giving only what you can afford emotionally or practically, saying no to manipulative financial requests, transparent money talk, right? And by the way, that's okay to say, hey, I don't lend money to my friends. Also, if you do lend money to your friends, right? I think that's a very interesting thing, but like, be ready that they don't return it. I had clients like this. I had stories like this when I said, well, At this point, you're probably going to just accept that this person never bringing it back and just let it go. And if this person morals and values, allow them to give you back this money, then it's fine. So set the financial boundaries for yourself. When these boundaries are crossed, you feel exploited, resentful, or financially strained, right? There's so many people that just giving, 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 and they're like, oh, wow, I don't have money. Yeah, because you're paying for everything. I have a friend, he was gathering his friends on Friday. And it's funny that he was paying for everything. He was paying for, he doesn't drink, but he was buying alcohol for them. He was buying, all the snacks and stuff like that. And then, a little bit later in a week, he would be like, oh, well, I don't have money, or like, I need to pay this, but like, I need to save up more. And I'm like, well, maybe if you reconsider your Fridays hangout with your friends where only you pay, maybe that will help, honestly. Okay, digital boundaries. Just because I am online doesn't mean I am available. Um, those are really difficult ones, I guess. So for includes phone, social media, time, who gets access to your info or DM, right? I think that's also like partnership thing or like relationship thing where you discuss my phone is my phone. It's not, and I never had a tendency to look into my boyfriend's phone because I just didn't care in that moment, and I didn't like if there's a lie, it's gonna come out anyway. So I don't need to spy or do something, and also, like, if you want to find something, you probably will, and just your brain will create the whatever scenario. So, who gets access to your info in DMs? Just setting it in, like, with your friend, your partner, your parents as well. Straightforward, right? Responding when you choose. That's another thing. That's kind of like a culture as well, where I feel like people don't respond in days, right? The way I solve this is I have my VIP circle. I have the circle where, let's say, we collaborate, my podcast circle people, where like we want to do something together. So that's kind of like a work scenario, I'd say. And I respond them, within work hours. And if, let's say, it happened that I didn't reply them, or like maybe I missed their message, what I do is I simply just apologize and say, hey, sorry, I missed your message yesterday. But I try to get back, right away. If it's just someone who is just sending me some social media stuff and asking me things, and then like inviting me to certain things that doesn't align with my goal, then I can just stay a little bit longer within the not replying thing and not be reactive and reply right away, right? So that's about like DMs. And then my VIP friend circle, I respond them within the day. If I'm working, I just don't even touch my phone because I'm on the flow and I like to have that. Serial boundaries. My stuff is not your stuff, right? I feel like that's the case when you live with roommates or maybe sister, or I don't know, maybe partnership as well. Friends. So lending, it includes lending items, sharing space, resources, taking care of belongings, right? And I used to live with roommates, and for me it kind of was no brainer. Like, I don't touch your stuff, I don't touch your food, I don't touch that unless I ask, or if I really need that, I will ask. But I just don't take it and assume that if it's our own fridge, like, or shared fridge, that it's also mine. I don't do this. But I had this happen, and happen again and again, and I was really like a little bit torn between, should I say something, or would that be me not being very, I don't know, welcoming or a good roommate? And when it happened more and more times, and I came home and I was very hungry, and I found that my stuff is gone, my food was eaten, and they're like, oh, hey, by the way, we took that. And I said, absolutely fucking not. That was emergency boundary, but I was late, right? I should have said it earlier. I said, hey, this is not okay. I'm right now, I came from work, I'm hungry, and I have the diet. Like, I really have the same thing I eat all the time. So I can't go and just order something. I don't order things. I don't do that. And second of all, why should I order? Because you didn't bother to go and buy something for yourself. Why didn't you think about what you're gonna eat? So that's what includes the same thing. If there's a, friend and friend, and some people are okay, right? It may not be a boundary. Hey, take my stuff. I'm okay. I'm okay with that. But I don't know. For me, that was the case. And I feel like for most people, it will be the case as well. So when these boundaries are crossed, you will feel taking advantage of, things are damaged and disrespected, right? Sometimes you lend a friend a close and, oh, sorry, hey, this has happened. I'm sorry. I don't think it's okay. Relationship and sexual boundaries, consent, clarity, and comfort. Always, right? We already touched on personal space, physical touches, and things like that. But what includes in these boundaries? What you are comfortable with physically and romantically. Consent every step of the way. It's okay, it's not okay. Again, don't wait. Don't wait until you're having sex, for example, and you feel uncomfortable and you wait and you wait and then you don't say anything. That's not okay. That's absolutely not okay. And most people will be good with recepting whatever you say in that scenario because they also want you to feel comfortable and to enjoy the process. And when these boundaries are crossed, you're going to feel unsafe, pressured, or dismissed. Let me see where are we at. I'm going to just touch on briefly on next two boundaries, spirituals or identity boundaries. I decide what I believe in and who I am. Don't tell me that universe doesn't exist or God doesn't exist. Don't tell me all of those things. I decide. If I decide that I believe in this, I believe in it. I'm being firm with this. If I decide to believe in something else or something happens and I see that, oh, maybe I'm open to other things, that's what happens. Don't mock people and don't try to persuade people that this is the only one true. And I feel like a lot of religious people are getting in there right now and they just like being absurdly pressuring other people to believe in certain things. Gender identity, cultural values, personal expression. Next set of boundaries, essential core boundaries. These are the boundaries that protect your soul. These are non negotiable to protect your safety, dignity, self respect, and core values. And when these boundaries are crossed, you don't compromise. You just by exit. I feel Felicia. The exercise that I wanted to give you is pretty much about just if you overcommit, if you always say yes, if you always the go girl and you are there for everyone, just try to say a little tiny no to something maybe insignificant and see how you feel, right? Oh, wow. Okay, now I have more time for myself. Okay, I can set and read. Oh, wow. I can actually go and cook, and do meal prep for myself. Oh, wow. I can actually enjoy time watching TV. Oh, wow. I can actually do this course right now, right? So all of those things will happen when you start learning how to say no to some people and start small. Probably most importantly, the exercise I would love to give you is that you just sit down, you write all areas of life, love, career, let's say maybe relationship, maybe friendship, family, what else? It could be work scenario, and see where you feel resentment, where you feel angry at people, where you feel that you always late for, like you don't have time, and self boundaries. That's one of the absolutely most important things because if you break your own boundaries all the time, do you think people will respect the boundaries you set for them? No. Second thing, respect others people's boundaries as well. Don't think that if you have boundaries, it's okay. But if other people have boundaries, excuse me, no, 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 no. That's what I want. So it kind of goes both ways. List all the areas, see where you feel resentment, see where you feel anger, see where you feel frustration, list the friends train if you wish, and see what people giving you, bringing you energy, and you have the equal exchange, what people draining energy, and just identify for yourself, hey, I'm going to just cut maybe the relationship with this person instead of talking to them every day. I'm going to talk to them every other day and see how that works. So, this is all I wanted to tell you. And I know that even those who listen to this video probably most likely won't do anything because we all get excited when we see when something like resonates with us. We're like, yes, let's go. I love that. We'll do this. I'll do this next day. Then what happens? You go back to the old pattern, unfortunately. And most people won't do anything with whatever I just said, even though it's absolutely amazing information and you need to like, you just take it and apply it. And I know that we need support. And I know that I grew in my life only when I had people who supported me, my mentors, the coaches I worked with, psychologists, and etc., etc. I grew with someone. And then I'm like, okay, I'm okay because I'm already have a system that I work with. I already know all the things. But even if sometimes if I getting a little bit lost, I reach out to my fellow coaches and we exchange sessions, for example, because it's impossible to do by yourself, especially if you're not in personal development, psychology, subconscious rewiring, all of these things 24/7 like I am. So if you need help with even finding the boundaries, even understanding like what is violated or who is violating, or you can like pinpoint this. I have free discovery session. You go there, it's free. You book it, we get on a call, 30-minute call. You tell me the best outcome that you want to have in this session, and I will guide you, and we will get to that outcome that you want to get, and you will leave with absolutely amazing understanding and the direction of where to take your life. And yes, obviously, I'm a coach. So I work with people, I have a program. And I usually don't even need to tell anything about this. People just ask, how else can I work with you? Do you have a program? Do you have a mentorship? So please, but again, it's not pressure. The free call, there's no pressure in there. I really just want to give you value first. And then you see, are we a good fit? It's like a date, right? When you go on a date, you don't ask to marry a person, right? You just go there to see kind of like, what is there exchange? Is this something that like really resonates with me? The energy is there, that I treat it as a date. The first time we're just there to, and mostly I am there to help you kind of like open your eyes to certain things and understand what is the next step. All right. Thank you so much, Julia Dars. Until the next time, love you. Set your boundaries. Take your life back.